In a world filled with sniveling snowflakes, where timeouts and safe places are abundant, where there's 37 genders to scroll through in a job application. Not that they have jobs. We're proud to be your salvation and your beacon to unabashed, in-your-face talk. This is Stars, Bars, and Cigars, the no-holds-barred conservative talk show hosted by battle-tested vets. Lock and load and get ready for an explosive journey through breaking news, the rich tapestry of constitutional history, and the pulse-pounding realities of Army and Navy life. Oh, and yeah, cigars. Stars, Bars, and Cigars. And now your hosts, Jimmy the Bull and Tig Tigger.
Hey, Patriots and Snowflakes. Tig, how are ya?
Great, Bull. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. I'm
fine. Not sick yet. A lot of people getting sick now with all these weather changes and all this stuff going around.
We'll talk a little bit about that here. But first, what are you smoking there?
Well, I'm smoking a classic Brick House. Many cigar people have heard of this, I'm sure, that already smoke cigars. This is one of those cigars where you can basically, it doesn't matter who you are, you can actually smoke it, beginner, intermediate, advanced. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I kind of lost my little thing here. I had some information on it. This is a really good cigar. It is said that it is kind of close to smoking a Cuban without actually smoking a Cuban. But this is a Toro. It's 6 inches, 50 gauge, somewhere in there, 52 gauge. It was put out by J.C. Newman. And remarkably, he named the Brick House after the brick home that he grew up in a village that he grew up in. So he was raised in a brick home. So this is kind of dedicated to the house that he grew up in. Cool. It's got a 90s rating in almost every single cigar deal, magazine or cigar rating companies, whatever the poll is. Everybody rates this one in like the 90s. So it is a really, really good cigar. The wrap is an Ecuadorian Havana wrap. The binder and the filler are both Nicaraguan. Has hints of cedar, cream, coffee, and subtle spice to it. I'll tell you what, I've had these many times. I recommend them if you've never had them before. And obviously, if you've had them before, you can make your call on whether you want more of them or not. They're around an $8, $9 cigar, and overall, just a pretty solid smoke. They usually burn real well and evenly. They draw real well. They have a good flavor to them. Not a whole lot more I can add to that. What are you smoking, Bull? Are you smoking a Bull tonight?
Yeah, I'm smoking a Bull tonight. No innuendos and insinuated there, but I am smoking the San LOTANO AJ Fernandez, the Bull. This one here has a rating of 92. I tell you what, my first impressions on this from the initial light up is very good. I'm getting kind of like I'd say like maybe like a, I don't know, kind of a leathery kind of spice almost flavor right from the start. So
Bull is smoking an El Toro.
This is a Gordo actually.
But I said El Toro meaning the bull, Spanish.
Yes, El Toro.
Wouldn't that be remarkable if it was a Toro?
Yeah.
El Toro.
Yeah, well, they do have Toros of this cigar actually, but this is what they consider a Gordo, which is a 6x60, and it's box pressed, so you can see it's kind of got that flat top and bottom.
Bull likes a mouthful of bull.
Yeah.
Hardy har. All right.
The wrapper on this is an Ecuador, Sumatra. It's got the binders Nicaraguan, so is the filler. Just an excellent cigar. I mean, just like I said, the first impressions of on the first couple puffs was really nice. It's very, very smooth, and I would say it's more of a medium-bodied cigar. So, I mean, beginners would like this as well. So,
Yeah.
so Tig,
try
how
it.
was your week? How was your last week there? I never really got a chance to kind of sit and chat with you, but
Busy, crazy. I had a sick girlfriend. She's getting better now. That's a good deal. Hope you're 100% tomorrow, Michelle. What else? What else? Not a whole lot went
what was she
on.
sick with, man? Is it
All this
the
shit's going
chemtrail
around.
flu or what?
I don't know. It could be everything from the chemtrail to the crappy rain to the crappy weather to all the sick people running around there that insist upon getting vaxxed, and yet it does no good, folks. You got to get your natural immunity and build up your system. But she's, she has some health issues, but she's around sick people all the time at work and stuff like that. So you know
Right.
what there's a lot of virus crap going around. So I mean, her son's kind of been sick too. So it seems to be a thing going on in town. I don't know if you've come across anybody that's kind of running kind of a virus type of thing where it's kind of like a cold flu thing, okay, kind of like, the thing where they were blaming everything on COVID, a few years back.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually COVID. It's just the fact that we have many, many viruses that are out there every single
Right.
year. They're
Right.
all kind of the same,
Yeah.
so I mean, what
No,
can you
I
say?
really haven't, been around too many people. So, I mean, I guess I'm not sure, if anybody was really sick or whatnot. But, they're saying that turbo cancers are really kicking in for some reason. So, I don't know. I mean, that's the big
Go figure.
word is turbo cancer, and
Yeah, well, there's so much out there that can cause cancer cases now. That's a whole different show in itself, really.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
but yeah, stay healthy, get some supplements, people. There's a lot of good stuff out there if you do the research on how to maintain natural health.
yeah,
Drink plenty of fluids. The body's about 75 to 80% water, so that means you got to keep your body fluids up.
hydrated.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, and they think they're okay because they don't feel thirsty, and what actually they're running around dehydrated half the time. And if you're somewhat dehydrated, even if you don't feel dehydrated, then all of a sudden your immune system starts dropping.
Right.
Got to stay hydrated. But this is the time of year because we got spring, so we got all this crappy weather going on and all this up down
Right.
temperature stuff, and people are getting the sniffles and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I mean, my daughter's sinuses are draining all over the place, but I don't think she really has a cold. It's like allergy season now too, so all kinds of crap running around.
Right. And honestly, every time about this year, my sinuses flare up, and for some reason, I'm staying pretty good. But I mean, I just got done doing a regimen of ivermectin, so I guess maybe that's what's helping me out. Keeping my system a little more clear,
Yeah.
And for all you people that don't know what it is, just look it up and make your own judgments. It's not going to kill you.
Get a lot of good multivitamins and minerals out there, a lot of amino acids. Get some oil of oregano. Oil of oregano is like a natural antibiotic.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of Cowboy Logic. It's probably one of my least favorite shows on Rav. I don't know why. I think Donna Fiducci and Dan Nine are pretty cool people and everything, but I guess sometimes they're a little hard to stomach. I mean, maybe it's just their topics, or maybe it's just their kooky looking kooky what do you call it, their stuff that they promote. But I don't know, for the most part, I do think they're pretty cool. I like some of their topics, but the one topic that they were talking about was chlorine oxide. Have you come across that or heard about that?
Yeah. Chlorine oxide, too much of it can basically kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
They put
That's
they're starting to put that kind of shit along with fluoride and everything else in water.
Well,
You know,
it's actually to cleanse water, but I mean the amount that you're supposed to get is so little that it's like a very untraceable amount, but
yeah, yeah. You know,
it's more.
it's if you get a small amount, that's fine. But I don't trust who's putting it in the water and how much they're putting in it. You know, they put all kinds of stuff in the air and the water and the food now that's just high levels of toxicity.
Yeah,
So if for the human body, and you wonder why people are getting sick and why there's more cancer cases and all that.
right.
So that's kind of another
Yeah,
good podcast in the future is the
yeah,
Maha movement. But yeah, I was joking with my girlfriend tonight. I said, well, I swim laps every week, and I'm pretty sure that a little bit of that chlorine water that I probably accidentally take in down my throat isn't going to hurt any. A little bit of that chlorine probably kills a whole lot of germs that could naturally make
yeah,
me sick. So, you know,
yeah,
but yeah, naturally, if you took in a whole lot of chlorine, you
right.
gonna kill
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So,
true.
you know,
So tonight's show we called it "Driving Me Crazy." Are you gonna ask me what how my week went, Tig?
yeah. I'm going to ask you that because it's going to go right into our driving segment. Since Bull here, people, is a professional truck driver, so
Yeah,
naturally you were on the road this week, and naturally that goes kind of going to blend right in with
yeah.
our topic. So, yeah, how was your week this week, Bull? Going
Well,
into
it was
our
great, but for the most part, but that's kind of why I threw this cap on. It's 75 Chrome Shop. I've been down there a few times at Wildwood, Florida, and spent the night at their lot. It was really cool because they got this big, huge Chrome shop for semi trucks and shit. So it's really a really neat place to visit, and that's kind of why I threw this on just to kind of play with our segment a little bit. But yeah, when you and I spoke in the earlier part of the week, we were saying, hey, let's do a podcast on driving, So I thought it was pretty cool, that we're going to talk about what I do and what everybody does, really.
and the shit show that's out on the road with
Yeah,
today's drivers. Oh my gosh.
right.
What
Absolutely.
road rage every stinking week.
Every week. It never fails, man. It just never fails.
Yeah,
So I wanted to kind of go into some of the things that piss us off
oh yeah.
about
There's a laundry
driving
list.
drivers.
Oh yeah. Where to begin?
No shit,
how
right?
about how about maybe you, since you have to do it professionally
I'll
every
tell
single.
you, I got some pet peeves, man, that really fucking piss me off and irk me something severe. My number one pet peeve is do not fucking tailgate me, period. Do not tailgate a semi truck. You're not saving a fucking dime. You're just not saving a penny. You're actually getting one step into the coffin, because if I have to slam my brakes on, and if I'm loaded, I'm going to stop pretty quick, actually. Not super fast, but if you're like on my bumper, you're going to bite it probably. So don't do it. It's stupid. It's freaking just dumb. And most of those people, what they're doing is this: they're
Yeah,
texting while they're driving, and
always
they're
on the
like,
phone.
a foot or two from your bumper. It's just dumb.
I like how these people will turn in front of you, knowing you're coming, and they don't give a shit because they're in such a hurry, but they're turning and they got the phone right on the side of the face where their blind spot is, where they're supposed to be looking at the oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
And they're not paying any attention. They just take for granted you're going to stop. What if your brake has a failure and you're going along and you get I hate people that pull out in front of me. As a matter of fact, they do it
Yeah.
every fucking day, every day. People
Yeah.
are so inconsiderate.
That's fast tracking your ass into the coffin, man.
Yeah.
That's seriously, it's fast tracking your ass into the coffin. And I'll take that one a step further is the guys that will actually cut you off. They'll shoot right in front of you, like maybe 5 feet away, 10 feet away from your front bumper, and then they'll take the fucking exit that's right there. It's
Yeah.
like plan your fucking trip a little better, dumbass.
I
Don't
like
cut a
these.
semi off.
I like these
You're a
people
fucking fool.
I like these people that speed ahead of you in the lane only to not give you any indication that they want to switch lanes. And they'll switch lanes right in front of you and then slow down suddenly. You're maintaining a consistent speed. They speed up just enough to get past you. Then they cut right in front of you and slow the hell down. It's like, that's
and
not the point of
my
passing.
truck, it has a radar on it, so, and it's got the adaptive cruise. So if someone does that, what it does is it fucking triggers the brake to hit, boom, like that. It's just like fucking jerks you in. It's like, you fucking prick, why'd you do that?
Well, if I get people too close to me front and back, all of a sudden my alarm goes off. Beep, 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 beep. It's like,
Yeah.
and it interrupts my music sometimes. I don't like that. All right.
Don't interrupt my fucking tunes, pal.
Yeah. Well, Ed, you got these people that they don't bother looking at their blind spot. They'll go to change lanes and almost sideswipe you. You got these people that don't have any consideration to at least put on their turn signal before they make the lane change in front of you. And they'll suddenly do it out of the clear blue. You've got these people, really, folks, when you're going to make a lane change, if you're going to make a sudden lane change in front of somebody, put a turn signal on, give them the common courtesy. And then when you do change lanes in front of them, speed up a little bit. Don't give them like this. Don't slow down in front of them and make them have to brake. That's not the point of passing.
Right. Another thing that really fucking chirps my fucking trigger is like somebody that will hang like on the corner of my bumper or alongside of my trailer. They'll just ride side by side with you.
It's terrible.
One of two things. It's one, because they got a shade and they don't have the sun in their eyes. That's one of them. And two is, they just don't realize that, with our trucks, a gust of wind can move us over, and it catches you. So it's like really, kind of freaky, but, a gust of wind can blow us over into that lane. Or, if a deer jumps out in front of us, what are you going to do? You want to swerve, and you got some asshole on the side of you, and, he's going to go into the ditch, or, you're going to plow him, one of the two. So don't do that either. It's fucking stupid, people. Don't do it.
Don't hang out alongside trucks, people. Okay, I for one, when I'm on a Harley, I try to get past every truck I can. I'll tell you why. Yeah. First of all, it's hard for them to see you on a blind spot. Second of all, have you ever seen what a semi truck tire will do if it blows?
Yeah.
And it goes sailing in your direction, it will take your head right off. If it goes through your windshield and you're in a vehicle, it will take your head right off, clean off. It's like a damn moving guillotine, folks.
Right.
You don't want to be around a semi when it malfunctions, when a tire blows. Right. Even the rubber spits off of that tire can be damn dangerous.
Oh yeah, because you ever see sometimes like if a guy loses his steer tire, and it just totally destroys his whole hood because that tire is whipping around and in the wheel well, and it's just smacking the piss out of that.
It's like fender. A moving, rotating saw. It's like a rotating saw.
I mean, it's dangerous,
So just stay away from the semis, people. Either get well behind them or well in front of them. Let them have their space, because I'll tell you what, if you're hogging around a semi, you are putting yourself in danger.
Not only that's against the law, because every state has a law on the books that says if you're crowding a semi, you can be charged for that. So, don't crowd a semi.
Now, another thing,
I think you're gonna, ride that center line as you pass, and if we happen to float into you and hit you or something, it's not on us, it's on you. You will get ticketed and you will get sued by the driver. I'll guarantee you that.
Another thing, folks, when you are going down an exit ramp to get on the highway, you are supposed to merge, of course. Absolutely. But you're supposed to build up speed. Don't go down that ramp all casually.
Yeah.
You're supposed to build up the speed that equals the speed of the highway that you are getting on.
Yep.
And then when you get on there, you got to look at your blind spot constantly and yield to the vehicles. And then when it's safe to get in, get in. Don't be one of these clowns. You go down real slow, like in front of me, to a point where, and then you almost stop completely at the end of the ramp. How are you going to build up speed from a stop to get on merging traffic that's going 55, 60 miles an hour? All right, that's even more dangerous.
And,
Folks,
you know,
you
I had
gotta
that
go the
happen to
damn
me last
speed.
week. In fact, I had some fuckhead, you know, pull off of a, you know, coming into the, you know, trying to merge in, and he merged in at 55, and he fucking did it on purpose. He knew I was coming at 65. I only run 65 to 68 miles an hour. I don't speed at all. I think it's foolish, you know, speed kills. So, but, you know, especially in a big truck, you know, just do the speed limit, and, you know, that's how I drive it. So, but anyways, this dumb prick, he merged into the traffic at 55, you know, and like I said, I got a radar in the front of my truck, and I can tell what speed that guy was going, and he kind of came on at 55. I had to hit the brakes before my, you know, the adaptive cruise kicked in. Just an idiot.
You know, I'll tell you what I like to do as a point for people that might be watching. I believe that everybody should show some common courtesy on the road. And we lack that big time. When I'm going
me attitude.
Yeah. When I'm going down the highway on a street where there's or a highway or a busy street that's gonna turn into a highway where there's an exit, when I'm going past that exit, I will purposely get in the fast lane, the pass lane, the left lane. I will leave the right lane to go in the left lane to allow the oncoming exiting traffic to get on that lane. And I think if everybody did that, if they got over just for a little bit to let these people in, I'll tell you what, it'd be a lot safer for everybody. You know?
Yeah. And normally I do get over, but, you know, it's just like if someone's riding alongside of you, like another truck or whatnot, you know, you don't have that option. So, you know, just to clarify that a little bit.
And people that think that bikers are ignorant and have and think they own the road and have an attitude. Well, let me tell you, some bikers that may be, but a lot of other bikers, if they seem rude or they seem like they have an attitude, it's because they're out there enjoying what they enjoy the most, and that's riding their motorcycle, and their life is on the line. It's like very dangerous for them, not because of the motorcycle, but because of the traffic around them. Because people don't take that into consideration. They don't look out for bikers. They don't give a damn. No, and bikers can't on two wheels. You can't stop on a dime, not safely, without losing your bike and crashing. Right. So, and then you get these people that cut off bikers. They cut you off, pull out in front of you and stuff, suddenly stop. And
I had a dumb fuck. He cut right in front of me at a stop sign. You know, I was parked I was at the stop sign waiting for him to make his turn. He swerved almost, I mean, this freaking close to hitting my bike. I was like, you fucking dick. Yeah. I'm like, I fucking cussed him out, flipped him off. You know, he's a fucking prick. I was going to turn around and chase him down and beat on him, but
well,
I should have. Fucking dick.
And then, God, there's so much I can go over here. I don't like the turnabouts, and they keep increasing more and more turnabouts. Half these people, the roundabouts, these people, they haven't even figured out the four-way stop yet. And now once they got to figuring out the four-way stop, that the person on the right has the right of way, now they can't figure out that the person on the left has the right of way on the roundabout. So now we're all fucked up in the head. You know, so now you're sitting there, you're either waiting for somebody to figure out that, they got the right of way, or when you have the right of way, they're pulling in front of you. You're coming at the left of them and they're at the right of you, and they decide to cut you off when it isn't even their right of way, when they have to yield. Folks, y'all need to take a refresher course on driving and the rules of the road out there, because it's terrible. Yeah. It's absolutely terrible. And now we got these illegal fucks driving. Why are they allowed to have licenses?
Yeah,
okay, in fact, illegal,
you know,
they shouldn't be allowed.
Down in Georgia, the DOT will pull everybody in and they'll give them a piece of paper, and on it, it's got a sentence on it. And they say, read that to me. And then, you know, then
Arkansas too.
Yeah, Arkansas actually, 'cause that's where I saw it.
Yeah.
In Arkansas, if you can't fucking write that sentence down and speak it in English, they will give you a $5,000 fine. And if your trucking company is from Arkansas, they will give the trucking company a $10,000 fine. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see that go all the way across the board. Just last week at John Deere, when I did a delivery, I had a guy come, he's tried sneaking in front of me to get into the door. And I said to him, like, hey, what door did he give you? And he goes, and then he gives me his phone, and I looked at it, and it was a translation thing. And I said, what fucking door did you get assigned? And he goes, 260. I'm like, dude, I was in line before you. So what makes you think that you're going to jump in front of me? And the guy that was by the door, he comes walking out, and he goes, you're next. He points at me, and he told the other guy to get out of there. So I backed in, obviously, because I was in the right. So
why are we giving licenses to illegals and people that cannot speak the English language or read the English language, and they have to be able to read road signs? First of all and foremost, anybody that's illegal shouldn't be allowed to get a license until they are fully a legalized citizen. And second, when they are, they need to learn the rules of our road in the United States, our roadway rules, our laws, and all that stuff. So they need to be able to take a actual course. They should have to take an actual driving course, and they should actually have to physically pass a driving test and the written one, but after the physical driving test.
I agree. And and I do believe it is a law that you have to speak and speak English, and you have to be able to write English as well. So I don't know why all these people all of a sudden, I'm hoping that they do get rid of a lot of these drivers that are like that, because you know what, that means more freight for us, and that means the rates go back up. Right now we're just sucking on rates, but
yeah, the states need to crack down on this shit.
Yeah,
we can't even, we got Americans that have been here all their lives that are American citizens that can't drive worth a shit, let alone giving licenses to foreigners, for crying out loud. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of people out there that need to take a driving course all over again. And then you got the foreigners. They shouldn't even be allowed to take a driving course until they're legalized citizen. And then they should have to pass a test to make sure they can safely drive in the road, drive our streets, and be able to actually follow the rules of the road. Man, I see a lot of these foreign people, and I know damn well they haven't been here long enough, the way they drive and the way they act. And it's like, why are you driving on my street? Why are you driving on American? You probably didn't even pay enough tax to fix our roads.
Yeah.
You have no business on our roads. You're gonna
end up killing someone.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, I personally think that 16-year-olds are too young to drive. I think that they should have to wait till they're 18 to be able to legally drive myself. But and then I think that certain people are too old to drive. And if they're too old to drive, and too old to physically react with reflex quick enough and be able to see well enough to drive, what I think they should do, if they don't get their license renewed, what they should do is they should set up a program where these people that can no longer drive get free transportation, like public transportation.
Right.
Also, if they're not already getting it, that is.
Right.
If they're not already offered free transportation because of being a senior citizen. But, there's just too much craziness on the road. It's just, I can go on and on and on about the stupid shit people are pulling on the streets. I've even seen people going up, actually entering where it says do not enter, and then they enter, and now they're going down the wrong way. That's crazy shit.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh. You got to be afraid to be out on the road nowadays half the time with the way these people drive. It's crazy. And then when you're a biker, oh my God, it's like you're, it's just terrible. I mean, the good thing about being on a bike is at least you've got a view, a 360 view. It's easier to look on your blind spot because you don't have like the frame of a vehicle blocking your direction.
Right.
You're set up high on the motorcycle, you can see all around you. But it's still, the way people drive, it's crazy. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, anybody in chat? I'm not seeing our number 75 episode. Are any of you guys watching on YouTube? Just send me a quick yes or whatnot. And I'm not seeing it on my end here.
yeah.
I thought we were on, but yeah, I'd like to take a minute here and thank everybody for watching Stars, Bars, and Cigars on Rumble. It seems to be the podcast host of choice, where it's a free station, so you can come in and watch the videos and hear pretty much anything you want, really. And then we're also on Spotify. We're also on what else? Podbean and a bunch of other streaming services. And our numbers have been really climbing on the audio. So we're in a whole bunch of different countries, which is pretty exciting.
I wish more people would catch us live on Rumble.
Yeah.
Catch us on YouTube once in a while.
Yeah.
Look for us.
Yeah.
Thanks for the viewers that are viewing. Our followers went up. Our followers went up a couple too this week, but we'd like to get that higher. So yeah, because we want a big audience. And we want people. And we want people.
Do you have any ideas for us? I mean, do we suck or?
Oh yeah, are we completely that bad? I mean. Come on, folks. I mean, I've seen some podcasts out there that get a lot of viewers, and you can't tell me they're more interesting sometimes. I mean, some of them are great, but
yeah,
some of them are just sleepers and snoozers. And it's like, how come they got all those numbers when,
Yeah, I'll tell you, I see these videos of these like jackasses doing like these, podcasts, and, they got like 100,000 people. It's like, where the fuck do they get these people at? It's like super crazy. But I guess I don't know if they're paying for them or I know when our numbers were way up there in the 3,000 2,000s. I mean, we had to pay for a ton of advertising to get it to get our videos seen. So it's like that gets old. So
yeah.
And then we're also looking into merch too, people. So, Patriots, I should say, or looking at getting some hats and shirts made up and some coffee mugs and maybe even some coffee. I don't know.
We can get more of these made.
Yeah. Got mine here this evening.
Yeah. So do you got anything more on the driving?
No, I'm pretty good. Let's, you had mentioned something, about Operation Anaconda.
Yeah. I wanted to touch base on that earlier this month. Didn't have a chance to and forgot about it. This anniversary, after 9/11, we had an Operation Enduring Freedom after 9/11, and March 4th of 2002 is the anniversary of the death of a true warrior. And it was known as Operation Anaconda. It was a joint operation with Special Forces Delta SEALs. Believe it or not, folks, some people don't know because they're not highly advertised or commercialized, unlike the SEALs. The Air Force actually has special operations, special tactics groups that do the same training as Special Forces in the Army and the SEALs and everything else. And they got another group called the PJs, or the pararescue. They go out parachuting, and they have to be trained to be medics and combat training, because they have to go out and get downed pilots and rescue people that are, that need to be rescued, that are out in the middle of nowhere in an enemy territory. I'm going to try to put this gently. I don't want to insult anybody out there. It's like a Marine Best told me. He said, it doesn't matter what branch you are in. There's badasses in every single branch. Okay. Yeah. You have good and the bad and the ugly in every branch. The Navy SEALs, specifically SEAL Team 6, they were deployed with a Master Sergeant named John Chapman. Master Sergeant John Chapman on a mission in Afghanistan. And this is back in 2002, like I said, Operation Anaconda. He's Master Sergeant John Chapman, was from the 24th Special Tactics Squadron, the United States Air Force. He got ahead of the pack. Now, I wasn't there. I've heard a lot of stories, but some of the video footage doesn't lie because the Air Force had drones up there. They had video footage. They were infrared. They were like dots, and they could show you the movement and when they stopped and where they were at. So John Chapman in the Air Force, he was deployed with the SEAL team. There was a SEAL, I don't know if he was Chief Slabinsky was his name, and he ended up with the Medal of Honor, and he was the leader of that team. And some would say that he not only should not get the Medal of Honor, but some are very highly critical of him and the SEAL team, by the way, that was on that mission. Because somehow John Chapman got ahead of the pack. Now, I don't know. They have radios, so I don't know if they said to him, hey, stop, we need to pull back. And he ignored the order. I don't know if that happened or what it was. But he got out in front, and then the SEAL team decided that they were going to back out, and they left him behind. There's a book wrote about it. They were supposed to make a movie about it. It has not been in production. It's based on that book, Alone at Dawn. And this man, Master Sergeant John Chapman, a true warrior, he basically fought all alone, took heavy gunfire, and he fought by himself the Taliban and Al-Qaeda groups, because that was the mission, to go out and get them and take some prisoner and knock out anybody they could knock out. And the SEALs left him alone. They left him there. And some of them say, oh, we thought he was dead. But you know what? If they were if they had their radios communicado, they could be told that, oh, you know what? It appears he's not moving. He's not there. And then they could have been told, oh, well, it appears he woke up. He must have passed out or something. He's on the move again. He took heavy gunfire, and he did everything he could to conceal and cover. And he finally succumbed to multiple gunshot wounds. But he held these guys off as long as he could by himself, while the SEAL team left him alone. So this is a black mark on the Navy SEALs. You know, I've often thought that these guys are silent. They were considered silent warriors at one time. And over the years, the SEAL team has been highly commercialized, well more than they should be. And they are the greatest of the great, but there are a few bad seeds, and they have committed some war crimes. And I'm not knocking the SEALs. I love the SEALs. I mean, I follow a couple of them. I've read some books. I actually dedicate some of my training to the style of Navy SEAL training when it comes to physical fitness and stuff. So I do admire them too. I've done, work in the past with some Rangers and stuff. I ain't going to get into that, but I will say this. I don't know the whole story, but those SEALs should have never left him behind. John Chapman. I don't care if he's Air Force or not. He was a badass. He was special tactics, did the same type of training they did. And even if he pulled ahead without being, maybe he did not follow an order. Maybe the team leader of the SEAL said, we got to pull back, and he ignored it. Doesn't matter. He can be reprimanded for not following an order later on. You don't leave him there. You don't leave a man there to die, to fight a battle by himself. Okay, because I know that there's a certain group of Army Rangers and certain groups of Marines that would have never done that. They would have never done that. They would have never left a man behind. In fact, the Rangers actually were in a mission where they actually saved a Navy SEAL, and they went back, even though they were under heavy fire and in a very dangerous territory on it where there was a helicopter that crashed. They brought back the dead bodies. They weren't leaving anybody behind. So tell me, I don't understand why the SEAL team left him to die like that, and I'll never understand it. And there's been a lot of SEALs, Special Forces operative guys that have come out on podcasts and interviews and they're pretty much siding with the story that SEALs should have never left. It's just going to be a black mark in the SEALs history. Now, what's worse, and this is getting to the worst part of the story. He's Navy. He got the Air Force Medal of Honor, Master Sergeant John Chapman. When he was up for the Congressional Medal of Honor, the Navy SEALs tried to block it. And I think the Department of the Navy as well. They tried to block it. They tried to block it, and they tried to cover it up the best they could through lies or whatever, because they didn't want him to get the Congressional Medal of Honor, because that story would have to be told, and then it would show that the Navy SEALs left him behind. And they didn't want that, of course. They didn't want them to look bad, of course. So they tried to cover it up and, tried to stop him from getting the Medal of Honor. He got the Medal of Honor, but it was a dirtbag move. It was a total dirtbag move, because they were so busy wanting to cover their ass and how it would look to their Navy SEAL group team. So to me, it's a disgrace. And, like I said, I wasn't there. I wasn't on that mission. I've heard many, many stories about it. And, I don't know if the reason why the movie hasn't been in production yet, because it was a few years ago they wanted to do it. I don't know who's blocking that, if it's the State Department or what. I know it was the joint special operations might even have something to do with that too. But that movie needs to come out, and I think we need to honor a true hero, Master Sergeant John Chapman of the United States Air Force, for what he did, for fighting alone like that. He had to be really afraid, intense, and a lot of pain. At one point, they said he passed out and they thought he was dead, and he came back and started moving again, started fighting all over again, bleeding out and everything, trying to take care of his own wounds and stuff. It's just an amazing story. And it really touches me, because of the fact that a guy having to basically fight by himself, leaving his team, leaving him behind.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the feeling of that? These are guys that are supposed to be professionals. It doesn't matter if he said, "No, I'm going forward," and disobeyed an order. You take care of that later. You reprimand them later for the disobeying of the order and stuff. But you go in there and you say, "Hey, man, we can't just leave him doing that, going forward like that. We gotta defend him. We gotta help him out." And right. It just I can go on and on and on forever. It was disgraceful to his family how they tried to block the Medal of Honor, and now I guess they're coming up with a museum of the Medal of Honor, and each Medal of Honor recipient, they're going to get their own little section, of them. And I guess it's disgraceful that they're only going to have on a screen a little picture and a little story about Master Sergeant John Chapman, when actually, in fact, he should have his own section too. So it's just despicable, the whole treatment of him, not only while he was alive fighting alone, but now even after the case, and even trying to block for the false story his Medal of Honor. And now the museum coming up, the fact that they're not going to give him his own little section, which he should have a nice big section. They did a reproduction of him, a life-size statue of him in uniform with his rifle. I think it's at the Air Force. It's in the Air Force and stuff. The Air Force has commemorated him very, very well. But this museum they're building of the Medal of Honor recipients, they ought to be giving him a better commemorative than what they're so far decided to do. Right. So it's just a story I felt compelled to tell. It's been told on many military podcasts and stuff, but I feel on our show we had to acknowledge it and me give my opinion on a true warrior who deserves much better. Right. So yeah, I guess I'm I'm done with my story on that. I mean,
sure. Let me ask you a question, Tig. How's that cigar smoking of yours, your brick house?
I put it down for a bit. Yeah, I put it. Yeah, I need to touch it up. I put it down because I knew I was going to get long-winded on this story, because it really.
Well, I'll tell you what, my San LOTANO or El Toro is a pretty awesome cigar. It did get a little stronger as I burned through it, so it's probably I'd say a beginner, advanced beginner's cigar. just for the simple fact that it's going to be more full body. It does have that. It started out as kind of a medium body, but now it's starting to be more fuller, and you can tell it's got the Nicaraguan fillers in it, so it's a little bit more in depth.
This is the same thing. Starts off as a medium, and it gets a little powerful, a little more potent, a little more full towards the end, towards the midway actually. I haven't made a whole lot of progress in it, but it's a solid cigar, folks. You can't go wrong with a Brick House. It has very high ratings, and all the critics that have, all the cigar aficionados have given Brick House a solid rating. So you want to get out and try one if you've never tried one. The rest of you guys that have tried the Brick House, what I'm talking about. So
they're good. They're great cigars, man.
Where'd you get that bolt? Where'd you get that?
This one, bolt? I got this at the on the JFK tobacco store.
I'll have to try one. I'll have to get out. It wasn't
very expensive. I think it was like a $7 or $8 cigar. Or wait, no. I take that back. I did get this over at Tobacco Outlet.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'll have to see once if they have it and get one.
Yeah, it won't disappoint. It really won't. It's a really good cigar. So, okay, we got a bunch of stuff to continue on.
Stories.
Yeah, you wanted to touch base a little bit about. We can maybe take like maybe 5 minutes or 8 minutes or so on this next topic, but you wanted to touch base on Jeff Younger, who is a Texas man who is married, and his wife moved to California because their laws are more relaxed about transgender. Kind of a fucked up deal.
Transgenderism is a mental illness, folks. I don't care what you say or think. It's a mental illness, and it's child abuse when you try to change your child's sex. All right. So this guy, his wife is a pediatrician, which makes it even worse, his ex-wife. And she's got connections and everything else. His wife, they get divorced over this because they're fighting over it. Because his wife wants to take their son and transform him into a girl. The kid's like 6 years old, something like that, 6 to 8 years old.
Yeah, I think 8.
8, yeah. And the kid even admitted that mommy makes me wear dresses. Mommy paints my nails. Mommy says I'm a girl. Okay.
Well, not only that, Tig. Mother said to him when he was young, I think right around 6 years old, she told him that she won't love him unless he's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is a twin, 1 of 2. He's a twin. So, I mean, he's got a twin brother, and so now she doesn't pursue this with him, but she's pursuing it with the other one. And I think it's mental abuse.
It is. And it's every kind of abuse. It's child abuse. And technically, this woman ought to lose all rights to her son. All rights. And she's a pediatrician, so she's got connections and friends and stuff, which really makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah. And this guy's fighting for his life. He's going to lose everything. Okay, he already lost his house and all that. And now they want him to pay child support, and he knows the child support's going to be used to transform his son into a little girl. So he refuses to pay child support based on that. And now he's looking at jail time for it. Jail time to save his son from abuse. Jail time to save his son from being transformed into a girl. What kind of America do we live in? Okay. This wouldn't even happen in Russia, for crying out loud. Yeah. This woman needs to lose her child. She needs to lose her MD license as well. And she needs to be charged for abuse. This is sick. This lady is a giant shitbag, and she should be in prison.
Absolutely.
I'm sick of this crap. All right. There needs to be a federal law on the books across the board. Banning this changing children into another sex. This is crap. This is utter bullshit. All right. Yeah. This lady needs to face a heavy penalty.
Exactly.
Seriously. burns me big time. There's only two sexes, folks. There's only two sexes. And what you were born with, that's what you are. There is only rare cases where someone has been born with two different genitalias, or they call it hermaphrodites or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they have to choose which one they're going to be. Okay. That's a rare case. I understand that. Freak of nature. Very few cases of that out there.
Right.
Less than 1%. There's only two sexes, though. All right. It goes back to the little boy in the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. What was that? Twins or something? Or not twins? What was it? Kindergarten Cop?
Yeah.
Little boy stands up and he says, boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. Bingo.
Yeah.
And nothing has changed.
Straight up.
Fred Rogers had a song on Mr. Rogers, his PBS show years ago, that said, about what boys were and what girls were. Okay.
Yeah.
We've always had that. It's always been from day one. The difference, there is a boy and there is a girl. There's only two genders, not even genders. They're sexes, two different sexes.
Yeah.
They called it genders because they want to justify making up more than two genders. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a huge mental illness that is running rampant in this country, and it needs to stop at all costs. At all costs.
Yeah, once that kid turns 18, he or she is free to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
They got the means and the way to do this. Fine. It shouldn't be put on the taxpayers.
We shouldn't even be preaching LGBT and grooming kids.
Right.
Let them be kids. Let them be kids. And then when they're old enough to date, let them decide what they want to date. Let them decide what they want to be, homosexual or straight. Let them decide on their own, in their own time. Let them be children first and foremost, and later on in life, they can decide what they want to do, what they want to be. I don't care if you're a guy and you decide you want to be a woman. Okay, fine. Be it, but don't push it on the kids, and don't get involved in women's sports, because that's not right either. Okay, that's just not right. Okay, I have nothing against men wanting to dress up like women and drag and stuff like that, and be homosexuals, but don't push it on everybody else, and don't expect special privileges because of it. Okay, so this needs to stop in this country. This is total mental illness.
Yeah.
Running wild. And you know what? I don't care what some stupid circuit judge says either. They're pure evil that defend this shit. And let me tell you something else. This transgender shit does not belong in the military. And I hope they stand their ground on this and tell them judges to go fuck straight off. Right. And I would double down on it and say, you know what? We need to go back to the don't ask, don't tell, or just eliminate homosexuals in the military altogether too.
Yeah.
Because really, I don't know. I think the military was much more solid, much more tougher, much more disciplined before all this nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, I know some gay people, and so
I have no problem with them.
I have no problems with them. Absolutely none. Period. I have none.
I know a gay guy who was a grunt in the Army. He was a grunt. You wouldn't even know he was gay. He didn't talk about it. He didn't wave the gay pride flag and prance around and all that stuff. Okay, he was a man's man. All right, he'd have your back in a firefight. He'd do his job. Okay. You didn't know he was gay. It was private about that. That's the way it should be.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I agree.
So
keep your private deal to yourself. You know?
Keep your private life deal. I don't even describe to my friends. I've never, ever told my friends really my private life. Okay. I've never told them any of my private life. I just think it's disrespectful towards your spouse, your partner. Doesn't matter who it is. It's just kind of, some things should just kind of be left in the bedroom, really, seriously. Yeah. Right. You're not impressing anybody by flaunting this shit. It's just disgraceful. Right. Keep it to yourself. That's why I call it your private life, folks. Exactly. Keep your private life private.
Yeah. All right. So moving on here, Tig, I think we're probably going to stay a little bit longer than the hour. So,
we got news. We got news now.
Yeah. Well, since our last our last program we did on the Antarctica Treaty, I came across something that was pretty interesting from the Smithsonian Magazine. So a Chicago-sized iceberg broke off the Antarctica, a 209 square mile swath. And it opened up the seafloor, which was crawling with critters of all shapes and sizes, from century-old sponges, cup corals, to octopuses, snail worms, and sea spiders, and a rare giant phantom jellyfish. So, I mean, it's just astounding, of the life forms that we just don't know of.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought it was really interesting, and we didn't bring that up.
Still makes you wonder what's past that wall.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. So, moving along, Shipegg, Yahoo News reports that the U.S. officials went door to door asking for residents who would like a visit from our second lady, Usha Vance. I call bullshit. I don't believe they went door to door to these people in Greenland.
Greenland, yeah.
I call bullshit.
Yahoo News is the same as CNN and MSNBC. They're all fake news and they're all full of shit. Period.
Yeah.
They're propagandists. That's what they are.
What do you got for trending news? I got a couple more things here.
Well, you know that you've heard that 7.7 magnitude earthquake centered in war-ravaged Myanmar hit across Southeast Asia Friday, March 28th.
Yeah, Myanmar.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say a little blurb about this. Our friend, or not personal friend, but Rick Delgado of from Real America's Voice News, Studio 6B. Rick Delgado, I think it was last night. He was saying it was hard to say.
That's Friday.
And he's saying, yeah, he said it was hard to say. He said it was, Friday. I'm sorry, I've got my days mixed up. And he said it was easier to say when it was called Burma. And yeah, that's correct. It was called Burma. It was better when it was Burma. But Rick Delgado, you're on television. You're on television. Come on, man. Sound it out slowly and read it before you get on television. Okay? Yeah. It's easy to say when you read it. Myanmar. That's okay, Rick. I'm just giving you a hard time. I got your 6, Rick. I got your 6, Rick Delgado. I got your 6 on it, man.
Yeah.
Better luck next time pronouncing it the first time around.
Yeah.
It's a horrible. Lots of earthquakes going on right now. Big earthquakes. Yeah. And I think that's a little biblical, if you ask me. But
well, I'll tell you what, Tig. I saw an interesting post. I follow this Flight Radar. This channel is called Flight Radar, I think Flight Radar or something like that. But anyways, they show of where planes go before and after events. And they've had some military planes flying around that whole region, like going back and forth. What the fuck are they doing that for?
Don't know. I also wonder why, you got all this weather modification stuff going on. You've got, God knows what. It makes you wonder if earthquakes and these great disasters aren't being actually, produced artificially, pushed. Yeah, because they do want to kill off the population everywhere.
Well, that's another topic. It's called HAARP.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it's a lot of Bible prophecy describes great disasters one after another. So here we go again.
Yeah, I was watching a video where the water actually receded away from the shoreline before it hit.
Yeah,
in that area, it just was devastating. Just totally devastating.
It is. It's bad. Thousands. Yeah. I think they're up there in the thousands that have been affected, that have been killed or injured or whatever. So yeah, Myanmar, Rick. Myanmar. Yeah.
All right, going on to some more news here. Scott Pressler was in Wisconsin to help elect Brad Schemmel to save the Wisconsin Supreme Court, but they're saying that Soros money is pouring into Wisconsin to get the scumbag demos.
Here we go again. Here we go again.
Yep.
And she will destroy Wisconsin.
You know, the thing is, I think Trump ought to declare George Soros and Alex Soros both enemies of the state.
Well, they're election interference.
Them.
Election interference.
Yep.
I said a long time ago, there should not be lobbyist money in interfering with elections. Big money, PAC money, ought to stay out of all the elections, period.
Right.
This is disgusting. They want to turn Wisconsin into a communist state. They want to destroy Wisconsin. And that's what they're going to do. And I hate these
we just
judges.
need another activist piece of shit judge.
You know, and the circuit judges have no right to counteract a president's executive order, especially if it clearly is not unconstitutional, and they don't have the right to sit there and try to manipulate the Constitution to what their opinions are on it. Okay,
You know, the Supreme Court needs to step up.
Yeah, and we got a bunch of bozos in the Supreme Court too that are traitors. Amy Coney Barrett, Chief Justice Roberts. Yeah, let me tell you, Thomas Jefferson said that if we allow the courts, the judicial system to get too powerful, we could lose our freedom and the republic. We need to put a stop to these assholes.
Yep.
And someone put up a bill that said that, I think even Trump said it himself, that there ought to be a term limit on these judges.
Yeah.
For how long they can sit on a seat.
Well, I heard that MTG is actually put some paperwork together to impeach that Broadwell or whatever his name is from DC.
Yeah.
And I come to find out he's not even a fucking judge. He's a rent-a-judge.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to get rid of that shit. Marjorie Taylor Greene has more balls in Congress than any member of Congress put together. They're a bunch of shitbags. This is not what we voted for. They're pulling the same bullshit over again.
Yeah.
They're not standing up for anything.
Mike Johnson, let's face it, he's fucking weak.
He's weak.
Shit.
Yeah, he's totally weak. So, yeah, I'm getting to where I've had it. It's almost to a point where you don't even want to vote anymore. What's the sense? You know, they're a bunch of shitbags. Dirtbags,
still
taking their payoffs.
Their term.
Yeah, taking their payoffs.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's some decisions Trump has made as of late that I don't really agree with either. So
yeah, the other one was the CDC.
Yeah, he picked a Biden person, and she was all about the shutdowns during the scamdemic and that. I don't like her at all.
Right. Well, I heard that she was actually RFK Jr.'s pick.
Yeah,
she was a recommendation from him, so that's a really horrible pick.
I wonder if we can even trust RFK Jr. anymore. And I was all about him, but he hasn't done much.
Too, man. He came out solid. He came out with throwing the punches, man. And now it's just like quiet. And, you don't hear nothing.
I think they need to start stepping up their game real quickly here. I don't care if it's only been a couple months. They need to start making some headways quickly.
And more the fucking arrests.
We need to save this country, and we need to work on it quicker than what they're doing. So,
hey, Tig, I got a question for you. If you could ask Donald Trump just one question, just one, what would it be?
Why do you continue to support people like Fauci? How come he hasn't been indicted by now? How come you are weak when it comes to harmful vaccinations in this country? Because I see another COVID shit going on again. And I see them, he supported that guy that wants to bring out the cancer vaccine, which is just another mRNA. Yeah. And he still has never said anything about making a mistake on Operation Warp Speed. So I'd really hammer him on this big pharma, big medical tyranny that is going on with the medical industry.
Yeah.
Stop supporting these harmful vaccines.
Yeah. My question to Donald Trump would be, where are the fucking arrests?
Ah, that's true.
Where are they?
Yeah. How come he's not hitting hard? I mean, all of a sudden, what is it? What they're giving us a false sense of security by thinking everything's great because they're working on the economy and the border. Great. You're doing a good job with the economy and the border.
Until
Okay.
it just supposedly
So what are we going to do? Doge is finding all the corruption and all the fraudulent spending and stuff. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Is it getting
Exactly.
done or is it all talk? Because I
Right.
see a lot of all talk right now. I don't
Right.
see any action on these things. Certain things that need to be action. There needs to be indictments. Fauci needs to be in jail. Bill Gates needs to be in jail.
They need
Hillary
to be
Clinton.
hanging, dude.
Hillary Clinton needs to be in jail. Obama needs to be in jail or hung, all of them. And hey, how come we're shoveling the Epstein files under the rug all of a sudden? What are we hiding?
Yeah. Let's take 5 minutes and we will go just trending news. What do you got?
Have you heard the state to be in is Idaho if you want to raise your kids? Idaho State passes a law that says that if pedophiles are charged with sex abuse of a child, they will be given a death sentence, the death penalty.
They could be given.
They could be. Well, I hope they do. Rape a
Well,
child, die.
Well, I think if they do 1 or 2 of them, I think it'll catch on and people will be like, let's stop this fucking stupid shit.
Make an example of somebody or some people.
Yeah.
You could start with the Epstein list. That's federal, though.
Perfect.
But, it's a good law. I like it. I think that law should follow suit in all the states. They ought to start pushing this stuff and say, hey, we're gonna, you rape a child, we're gonna execute you.
Yeah.
Period.
And a point was brought up that was pretty interesting. And most cases, raping a child or whatnot is not always, with penetration.
Yeah. Well, it's any kind of fondling or anything. Stay the fuck away from the kids.
Yeah. Just stay away, you fucking sickos.
Yeah. Don't touch them. Don't touch them at all. So, got anything more?
Let's see here. Did the FBI ever find and arrest FBI agents who welcomed Trump supporters into the Capitol building? Or are we still pretending the insurrection was entrapment of the DOJ?
Another cover up there. Another cover up there. What about that Ray guy who incited all of this?
Well, the funny thing is that Broadberg or whatever his fucking name is from DC, he actually gave Ray Epps a slap on the wrist and escorted out the back of the court.
Of course. There was 26 FBI agents that were part of inciting this crap. And there was George Soros paid actors in there to put on Trump supportive hats, this whole thing. And then Pelosi is guilty too, because she told Trump ordered the National Guard to secure that area. And she told him to stand down. She ordered him to stand down for a reason. It was all set up. Wasn't an insurrection at all. We all know this. Why are we 4 years later? Why do we have to keep talking about this? This should be solved.
Yeah.
This is sickening. So yeah.
Yeah. The other thing the last thing I got is quit spraying our fucking skies.
And you know what? Kennedy is in charge of this shit. He should be putting a stop to this to make America healthy again.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, it needs to be voted on, through Mike Johnson. He needs to put a bill out there to stop it.
Good luck with that.
He's not doing it.
Good luck with those shit bags in Congress. They're terrible. Yeah. Both sides, both aisle.
Well, both sides my understanding is they voted on it and it passed it.
So what are they doing about it?
They're not doing nothing.
They're do nothing. The House is a bunch of do nothings. They do nothing.
Republicans are ballless, man.
They're terrible.
Hair between
and the Democrats are commies, globalist scumbags.
I think they all need to go. And
they all do. We need to shut down the government.
Period.
Yeah, and you know what?
Start immediately.
And you know what? I think that the Trump administration, we need to get rid of all these 3-letter agencies. They're worthless. They're corrupt. Get rid of them all. Shut it down completely. I got some more news here. Speaking back when I was talking about the vaccine thing, New Zealand reports that since the government's big push for the COVID mRNA kill shot, they have seen many dying at an alarming rate.
Oh,
They're losing, their population is getting hit hard.
you know, I came across a really interesting video. I should have sent it to you, and maybe I did send it to you. Somebody was saying that there's an 80-20 rule going where they want 80% of people dead by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty positive about it. Does anybody ever remember that the Georgia Guidestones, which got destroyed? That was in many different languages, and it was basically the 10 commandments of the New World Order. And the top one was to get the population down to 500 million, which is 75% of the Earth's population.
Yeah.
So over that, actually.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So they're still at it. They're doing it through the food, through the water, through the drinks, through the spraying of the skies, through the vaccinations, you know, through the continual push for abortions. Yeah, that's how they kill off a population.
Right.
And now, didn't we also mentioned, and I've seen this in the last couple of years because I work outside quite a bit, and I noticed this over the last couple of years, and you even sent the video footage of it where the bees are endangered. They're dying off. They're purposely killing off the bees, if you ask me.
Oh.
If seeing less and less bees every year, they're pollinators, folks. If the bees become extinct, so does humanity.
Right.
Protect
and then that's
bees.
when they're gonna force us to eat fucking maggot burgers and shit like that.
Yeah. So protect the bees, folks. Don't run them over with your lawnmower or anything like that. The honeybees, you got to protect them. The bumblebees, the honeybees, the pollinators, protect them. I'm not talking about the wasps or the hornets. Know your difference. Know your difference in your insects. Protect your honeybees and your bumblebees, your worker bees.
And we're fucking serious about this, folks. You know, just protect the honeybees, protect the pollinators. You know,
find alternative pesticides as well.
Yeah,
you don't want to kill them.
Right.
So,
all right, yeah, you good?
Well, I got one more thing of news. I guess I should. Joe Biden's appointee attorney Jessica Aber was found dead in her bed during a police wellness check. She was only 43 years old and announced her resignation 3 days before Trump became president. Authorities have ruled out foul play. I beg to differ. She was specifically responsible for prosecuting crimes associated with child exploitation and abuse. Imagine that. Maybe she was a whistleblower. I think.
Does it make you go,
Why are they ruling out foul play? I don't think so.
Well,
I think
from what I understand, she was in control of like another Epstein type thing where she was doing sex for sale.
Yeah.
And that's what I come to find out about her and her death, is that she knew too much, so they wanted to get rid of her.
They killed her off. You know they did.
Yeah.
I don't know why the police are covering it up by saying they're not ruling foul play as bullshit. See, that's what I hate is everybody's getting paid off. Everybody's getting paid off. Everybody's covering up shit in this country. It's a cesspool of corruption, top to bottom, from your police to the highest levels of government. It sucks. I support the police, but what I don't support is police covering up high crimes. All right.
Yep.
I don't care. This is ridiculous. I know damn well that there was foul play involved. It's pretty common sense. I mean, how can you not put two and two together there?
Right.
All right. Maybe they don't have any evidence, but well, the CIA has been known to have some pretty nice little tools on how to make people look like they died of natural causes when they didn't. So
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for following Stars, Bars, and Cigars tonight. Giving us an hour and 15, 20 minutes of your time. Yeah. Follow us on Getter, Truth, X, and Facebook. You can do Jimmy the Bull on all those platforms, or Stars, Bars, and Cigars. Follow Tig Tigger on there as well. We can be found on, what's that?
I said, thank you, folks. I was trying to say thank you, folks. Thank you, folks, for watching us. Continue to help us out. Spread the word.
Yep.
Share our material.
Yeah, we're on Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch tonight. Spotify, Podbean, iHeart, Alexa, all sorts of different audio streaming services, Google. We're on pretty much everything. So continue to follow us. We appreciate it. So
look for us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You've been listening to Stars, Bars, and Cigars. Two conservative vets telling it like it is. The rally cry for those who appreciate bold truths served with a side of mayhem.
Roger, outside, decide before copy's all. We'll keep them sweating until we see Butcher 3. Out.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And if you didn't, well, why are you still here, snowflake? We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, follow us on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and hear our precious voices on all the streaming services. Until next time, keep the spirit of freedom roaring.